Pain rewired my humor. I laugh at things that would send healthy people into therapy. I make jokes that make people uncomfortable. I find comedy in moments that should be tragic. And I'm tired of apologizing for it because this dark humor, it's not a character flaw, it's a survival mechanism. It's how I stay sane when my body is trying to break me. Welcome back to Painfully Real. Today we're talking about the secret weapon we don't admit we have: humor, morbid, dark, twisted humor. The kind that makes surviving pain just a little bit easier and makes everyone around us deeply uncomfortable. There's a switch that flips when you live with chronic pain long enough. Your sense of humor goes from light and friendly to dark and morbid, and it's not a choice, it's a reflex. When your body is betraying you every single day, when you're living with constant suffering that nobody can see, laughter becomes survival. I remember the first time I made a joke about my pain that horrified someone. I was at a doctor's appointment, and the nurse asked me to rate my pain on a scale of 1 to 10. I said, it's about a 7, but on my scale, 10 is please just amputate the whole body. So 7 is actually pretty manageable. She stared at me, didn't laugh, just stared, and then said, oh, okay, and wrote something down that probably said, patient exhibits concerning ideation. But here's the thing, I wasn't suicidal, I wasn't concerning, I was coping. That's what dark humor is for people with chronic pain. It's coping. It's taking the power away from the thing that's hurting you and making it smaller, manageable, even funny. Morbid jokes, gallows humor, saying things people can't believe you just said. My pain is so bad today, I'd high-five a serial killer if they promised to make it stop. I'm not saying I want to die, but if a piano fell on me right now, I wouldn't be mad about it. My body is basically a full-time job, except it doesn't pay and I can't quit. People hear these and they're horrified, they're concerned, they don't know whether to laugh or call someone, but to me, it's Tuesday, because when you live with this every day, you have two choices: cry or laugh, and honestly, I'm too tired to cry anymore. The reactions to chronic pain humor are interesting: awkward silence, nervous laughter, confused faces, concerned glances, judgment. Yeah, that happens a lot. I've had people pull me aside after I made a joke and ask if I'm okay, as if making a joke about pain means I'm falling apart. I've had people tell me I need to stay positive and that negativity will make the pain worse, as if my dark humor is somehow manifesting more suffering. I've had people clutch their pearls and tell me that kind of talk is inappropriate or concerning or not helpful. And you know what? That's fine. They don't live in my skin. There's a huge gap between people who live with chronic pain and people who don't. And humor is where that gap becomes most obvious. Healthy people think humor should be light and uplifting. They think laughter should come from joy, from happiness, from good things. But people with chronic pain, we find humor in the darkness. We laugh at the absurdity of our suffering. We make jokes about the things that are killing us because it's the only way to feel like we have any control. I've made jokes in support groups that had everyone cracking up, but would make a civilian call 911. What's the difference between chronic pain and a bad relationship? Bad relationships eventually end. My pain medication doesn't work, but at least it's expensive and has side effects. I'm not lazy, I'm energy efficient. And by energy, I mean pain tolerance. In the right room, these jokes land. People laugh, they get it, they feel seen. In the wrong room, people think I'm having a breakdown. But here's what I've learned: the people who get uncomfortable with my humor are the people who haven't had to develop it as a coping mechanism. They're lucky. And I don't mean that sarcastically. If my dark humor makes you uncomfortable, that means you haven't had to live in a place where dark humor is necessary. And that's a privilege. I'm not going to dim my light or my darkness to make other people comfortable. Let me explain why dark humor works for chronic pain patients. Pain steals control. You can't control when it flares, you can't control how bad it gets. You can't control how long it lasts. Your body is doing something to you and you're helpless. But humor gives control back. When I make a joke about my pain, I'm taking the thing that's controlling me and putting it in its place. I'm saying, you might be hurting me, but you don't get to define me. You don't get to be the only narrative. Every joke is a rebellion. Every laugh is a tiny victory. Fear is exhausting. Living with chronic pain is scary. What if it gets worse? What if it never gets better? What if this is the rest of my life? Those thoughts will destroy you if you let them. So instead, I laugh at them. I make them absurd. I turn the monster into a punchline. What if this is forever? Well, at least I'll never run out of material for my podcast. It's not that the fear goes away, but humor makes it manageable. It makes it something I can live with instead of something that crushes me. Laughter is medicine. This isn't just woo-woo spiritual stuff. There's actual science behind this. Laughter releases endorphins, the same chemicals that reduce pain. It lowers stress hormones. It boosts your immune system. It literally makes you feel better. So when I laugh at my pain, even if it's dark laughter, even if it makes people uncomfortable, I'm medicating myself. And unlike most of my actual medications, this one has no side effects. Connection through shared experience. When I make a dark joke about chronic pain in a room full of other chronic pain patients, something magical happens. Everyone laughs. And in that laughter, there's recognition, there's understanding, there's solidarity. We're all in this hellish club together, and dark humor is our secret handshake. It says, I see you, I get it, we're surviving the same thing. That connection, that moment of shared laughter in the darkness, is more powerful than any therapy session. Let me tell you about some of my favorite dark humor moments that came from my chronic pain journey. The flare that felt like lava. I had a flare that was so intense, it felt like someone was pouring lava down my spine. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. My partner found me on the floor and panicked. Should I call an ambulance? And through tears and pain, I said, only if they're bringing morphine and a new body. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I was already doing both. The therapy appointment, I was at physical therapy, and the therapist was showing me an exercise. She said, just, does this hurt? I said, define hurt. Compared to my normal baseline, no. Compared to a functional human being, I'd say it's somewhere between stepping on a Lego and minor exorcism. She wrote something down. I assume it was patient is coping through humor, but for all I know, it was patient is concerning. The pain scale conversation. A new doctor asked me to describe my pain, not rate it, describe it. I said, imagine your skeleton is trying to escape your body, but it's doing it slowly, one joint at a time, and it's not very good at it, so it just keeps trying and failing repeatedly. He blinked. Then he said, that's actually very helpful and disturbing. I said, welcome to my existence, the medication game. I was comparing medication side effects with another chronic pain patient. We were going back and forth like a twisted game of poker. My pain meds make me constipated. Mine make me dizzy. Mine make me gain weight. Mine make me lose my memory. Wait, what were we talking about? We were laughing so hard we were crying. Everyone around us looked horrified, but we weren't making light of our suffering. We were surviving it together. Here's what I want you to take away from this episode. Your dark humor is valid. It's not a character flaw. It's not inappropriate. It's not concerning. It's a shield. It's armor. It's a coping mechanism that's kept you alive when everything else was trying to break you. Anyone who doesn't get it isn't living in your world. And that's okay. You don't need them to understand. You don't need their approval. You need to survive. And if dark humor helps you do that, then laugh. Laugh as dark and as loud as you want. Stop apologizing for it. Stop dimming it. Stop making yourself smaller or lighter or more palatable for people who can't handle your truth. Because your humor, your dark, twisted, beautiful humor, is part of your strength. It's part of how you've survived something that would have broken most people. And that's nothing to apologize for. So the next time someone clutches their pearls at your joke, smile. And remember, they're uncomfortable for a few seconds. You're in pain every day. You've earned the right to laugh at whatever the hell you want. Thanks for listening to Painfully Real. If this episode made you laugh or made you feel seen in your laughter, share it with someone who needs permission to be darkly funny. And remember, your humor is survival. Keep laughing. I'll see you next time.